Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Hello dear friends, welcome to this fifth lecture of Module 1 on Advances in Engineering Geology. In previous lectures, we have discussed about different types of engineering geological ground, about rock material and rock strata in brief, about concept of stress-strain deformation, and some important mechanical property and parameter to familiarize different aspects which we will utilize in our future discussion for easy and proper understanding. Now in this last lecture of Module 1, we will discuss about the geomorphological facets of mountain and river valley, because these areas we are going to apply engineering geology very significantly. Therefore, a basic knowledge about the mountainside geomorphology and river valley geomorphology is important for various engineering geological applications. In these lectures, we are going to discuss about geomorphology of river valley and mountain regions and associated some important landforms. In this lecture, we are going to cover about a basic concept about distribution of hydrosphere, biosphere and others, then mountain geomorphology, river valley geomorphology and different stages of rivers and associated landforms. In very brief, to familiarize you in different aspects related to geomorphology coming in way of engineering geological applications. Friends, as you know, our Earth system can be divided in subsystems which are called as different spheres, and these subsystems can be broadly divided into geosphere and biosphere. Further, geosphere we can divide in form of lithosphere, hydrosphere and cryosphere as well as atmosphere. However, the transition region of hydrosphere, some part of lithosphere and some part of biosphere responsible for constituting our biosphere, where the existing ecosystem is going to perform their various activities. As far as geomorphology term is concerned, it deals with evolution and structures at various landforms or of various landforms resulted to mountain, plateaus, valley, basins, plain, etc. As far as the Earth's surface is concerned, it is uneven in shape and elevations throughout the world or globe. The physical surface of Earth is referred as relief features or landforms of the earth which are varying with respect to place and with respect to time. Depending upon their evolution and shape, they are called as the mountain, plateau or plain or depressions based on geometrical facets. The major landforms are formed by the earth due to involvement of either movement of crustal plates, which we have already discussed, as well as the extrusion of magma or some mental material. If we are going to see different agencies which are active on our earth surface or subsurface, like rivers, like ice, like wind, like rain, or like sea waves. In view of the various activities on the surfacial processes as well as the internal process like extrusion, extrusions and others, principally we are able to define any region in this context. You can see this elevated part and some flat zone and some again this elevated part, then the plain area and this depressions. So this mountain we can, elevated part we can suggest as mountain. This slightly lower altitude side and planar in flat in nature, we are going to recognize plateau, and the large area which is a plain in nature, we are recognizing as plain, and the great depressions we are going to recognize as sea. In addition to this, we can see here the number of depressions filled by water in form of lake, the number of stretches where we are getting the flow of water as a river, and number of the flow of water in vertical directions we are recognizing as springs and others. So first we are going to discuss about the mountain geomorphology. As far as mountain is concerned, a mountain is a natural elevations of the earth surface rising in comparison to the surrounding areas, abruptly rise in altitude by some landmass we are going to recognize as mountain. The mountain is a large landmass that stretch above the surrounding lands in a limited area, usually in form of peaks. A mountain is generally contains hills and the opposite of the valley. Hills is a valley. So the generally steeper than a hill is recognized as a mountain. Mountains are formed through tectonic forces or due to volcanic activity or volcanic forces, and these forces can locally affect the surface of the earth. So, in brief, we can say that the elevated surface of the earth abruptly rising more or less from surrounding areas of lowlands. The mountain region is consisting of various zones. Some are zones of high altitude area covered by snow, covered by ice, covered by association of snow and ice along with some rock materials and some debris and others. A lower side, some of the area we are going to see as a flat in localized domain, decorated by vegetations and others. And some of area is a peak of the low height or low altitude or low level, and some of the area we are going to see at the foot of the hills. If we are going to see geomorphologically about the classification of different systems based on altitude difference and based on the relative relief, I have collected from some papers. If we are going to see the mountain system, then we can say that the mountain system can be divided as high mountain system, then mountain system, then mountainous terrain, and then hilly terrain. These differences we are going to recognize as high mountain system is more than 1000 meter, mountain system ranging from 500 to 1000, that is simply the more than, it is actually recognized as not equal to 500, it is a more than 500 to 1000. Similarly, mountain terrains ranging from 200 to 500, the same concept, and the hilly terrain 50 to 100 meter. If we are going to see about the relief, we can see the relief 500 per square kilometer for the high mountain system and 200 meter square kilometer for the mountain system, and about the 100 meter per kilometer square for the mountainous terrain, and about the 50 meter per square kilometer for the hilly peak. So if we are going to see altitude wise, high mountain system is a very high in height. However, the hilly terrains is of limited or least height. Below the hills, we are going to see this in high mountain systems, the deposits covered by ice and others, the different researchers have worked, but we are not going to discuss in detail. So, if we are going to summarize, we can say that the mountain system can be categorized as a high mountain system, then mountain system, then mountainous terrain, and then hilly terrain. The foot of the mountainous terrains we are getting as foothills. That is a very limited in height. Then we are going to get some low elevation area which is in nature flat and recognized as a plateau. So if we are going to see about the plateau, A plateau is a flat, elevated land that arises sharply above surrounding area, and it occurs in almost as a relic type appearance. Although they are contributing about 1/3 of their surface, this type of features formed by upwelling of the magma, intrusion of the magma, are due to erosion. We have number of examples. Suppose here Chota Nagpur granite-gneiss plateau or Chota Nagpur plateau. We have some plateau in Rajasthan area. We have some plateau in Japan. So we have various types of plateau, genetically different, but in appearance almost same. Then plain. A plain, as the name indicates, is a flat area. It occurs as a lowland at the bottom of the valley, but also on plateau and mountain area also. Some flat land we are recognizing as plain. Most plains are formed by accumulation of sediments brought by river. So now we are going to look about the river valley. If we are going to see the river and decide about the river system, the river system is a very simple, and it is a narrow stretch where we are getting the flow of water. Initially the system starts from the higher altitude area and then follow the gradient and finally going to merge with ocean. This is the general concept. In this zone, here we are getting the number of, if we are going to see in 3D, this number of water roots which we are going to merge in some limited roots. These we can recognize as collecting system or the system which are going to join the rivers. This type of collecting system we are going to recognize as tributaries. This type of system we are generally observed in the high altitude area, and this high altitude area we are recognizing as the, in terms of the technical definition, headwater region. Headwater region means towards source. Then we are going to recognize another type of system, that is transporting system, in which the river or the flowing water system is going to collect sediments and others and move following the gradients. This system is responsible for erosion and transportation of sediments through the channelized depressions. Then finally, when this river system is going to meet this seaside, then we can say that here, if you are trying to recognize the system, here the mountainous zone, then plain area, then slight depression, lakes and others. Then in the system, when this flowing system river is going to meet, if we are going to see here in this 3D type of depressions, then the river, due to formation of some landforms here as a result of deposition of materials. This flow of the original system is going to divert due to presence of this barrier. And due to this presence of the barrier, there is again branching of flow, and this branching is from the single to the branching. Here in high altitude area, the number of branching is responsible to join this major point, major depression. This part is known as river and this part is known as tributaries. And here opposite to this, when the river is going to meet oceans, then the single flow route is diverted in number of routes. This system is known as dispersing system. And this is known as distributaries. This type of flow is known as distributary. So tributary is responsible for formation of the river and distributary is responsible for breaking of the river. Due to formation of here delta, and here this system is going to collect some material from high mountain area to make the system in view of the load ridge. And this finer material is going to accumulate here due to deposition. As you know, the flowing water, we will discuss in our future class. The flowing water is responsible for, first thing, weakening of root material and source material. Weakening of root material and source material. Here I try to show with help of this cartoon. This water is confined to flow in this way. This water is taken from this region source area. Due to flow of the water and performance of different type of activities, that is the गोपेश जी तो गड़बड़ हो गया, हम आपकी तरफ ताक दिया आपका आवाज सुन के कि आप बुला रहे हैं. अच्छा, if we are going to see the system, here mountain area, then depressions and the fine depressions, if we are going to recognize this in three zones. Here the flow of water on this zone is going to weak this original headwater region and going to weak this root zone and responsible for formation of first weakening of ground, then second about the erosion, then third about the movement of material transportation, and then finally settlement of the transported material at deposition. Due to this erosion, transportation and deposition, we are getting here collecting system, transporting system and dispersing system. Collecting system is responsible for formation of the network of streams recognized as tributaries, and transporting system is the main trunk of the stream and responsible for different type of activities concerned with erosion, concerned with transportation and concerned with deposition. That is the main channel. And then again, when there is a deposition of the finer materials, when the river is going to reach the oceanic zone, then again this river is going to branch in different branches, and we are recognizing as this type of network as distributory system. So in this view, tributaries, main channel and distributaries, we are going to overall anyhow develop some view about the river system. Then if we are going to see the elements of river, the elements of river is a very simple. These are different. We have already discussed tributaries, distributaries. The upper side from where this river is coming is upstream, and the flow direction is recognized as a downstream. Toward the flow, downstream, opposite the flow, upstream. This part where we are getting the tributaries, this region is responsible for deposition, and this region, the meeting region with the ocean, is also responsible for deposition. We are recognizing here as a formation of delta. Here we are recognizing as formation of fan type structure or fan type deposit. And here in this route, following the gradients, we are having number of activities formed by the rivers, and these systems we can have some structures due to meandering action of river, due to formation of meanders. If we are going to see the different stages of river, then we can divide a river system in view of stages in three broad division. First is a youth stage, second is a mature stage, and third is old stage. The youth stage is responsible for maximum intensity concerned to erosion, and due to extensive erosional work, this youth stage is responsible for formation of V-shaped valley. V-shaped valley and deposition of coarse to fine material. However, in mature stage, the river is in full swing of development and responsible for formation of river terraces. However, as the gradient is gradually decreasing, then we are getting the flat type of profile in old stage where we are getting delta. If we are going to see in view of erosional work with stage through this plot, youth, mature and old. intensity of erosion bulk, erosion intensity. Here the erosion intensity we are going to recognize maximum in youth stage, then gradually the intensity of erosion is decreasing and minimum in old stage. If the erosional work is less in old stage and maximum in youth stage, then the opposite of this what happens here? In old stage and in middle stage, the deposition is more, where in youth stage the deposition is less. It's like this. This is deposition, and this is the erosion related activity. So erosion related activity is gradually intensity. We are discussing about the intensity. The intensity is decreasing following the gradient, where the accumulation settlement of sediments is increasing, even able to allow the settlement of the finest material. Therefore, delta we are getting some deposits of the fine material. In youth stage, we are going to recognize different type of structures. We are recognizing as canyon and gorges, very deep valley, then the river valley, then we are getting these features like waterfalls. We are getting the number of depressions, as we have already discussed in our ground type potholes ground. Then we are getting the number of stream terraces, that is the living of these different zones, older and youngers. Then we are getting the tilting of the river in form of the sinuosity. This part we are recognizing as the meander. Sometimes what happens, this meandering is so in, then this part is going to leave from the original and become an independent water body. We are recognizing as the oxbow lake. This is the stream sinuosity, a stream condition of the sinuosity. Here we can see, here I have taken this photograph from the Dhumadhar Fall, from the Jabalpur area. As far as we have already discussed, canyon is a popular term recognizing in US, and where is the gorge European countries are preferred to utilize for the deep steep and narrow valley, having very steep valley sides and slope. They are mostly formed when the process of forming of waterfall is repeated frequently as the waterfall retreats upstream. If we are going to see the different type of stream with respect to time, we can say that it is a consequent streams, subsequent streams and others, and which we will discuss in our future class. Here, today we are more interested to deal with the landforms. So at the high altitude area, here with help of this cartoon here I try to show. In this high altitude area, we are getting some fan type of triangular type shape of deposits made up of gravel, sand, or even smaller sediments. And these sediments is known as alluvium, and this type of deposits we are going to recognize as alluvial fan. When this river system is going to move further down, here you can see the view, here this formation of this type of triangular structures, this type of triangular, here I have taken from this net for explanation only. Then when this river is started moving from high altitude area to the low altitude area, then due to presence of some resistance in way of the deposit, in way of the flow or deposits at the higher energy condition, bigger blocks and others, this type of flow is going to show number of branches due to formation of this barrier. This barrier is nothing, it is known as bread bars. Therefore, this type of channel we are recognizing as the braided channel or braided river. The braided river exhibit numerous channels that split up and rejoin each other to give a braided appearance. This type of situations we are going to encounter in our country, nearby the Haridwar, nearby the Rishikesh, etc. Number of sites which are able to show this braided type of appearance. They typically carry coarse grained sediments down a steep gradient. Here we can see this type of situation. These photographs also I have taken from net for explanation. Then we have meandering type of systems, and this Indo-Gangetic plain is dominated by such meandering type. We can see the meander nearby the Allahabad, meander nearby the Kanpur, near Varanasi, near Vindhyachal and others, many places. Finally, we are getting some landform associated with meeting of this river with ocean, and that is famous for the formation of the delta. And here in our country we have, here you can see the formation of delta due to Ganga and Brahmaputra river is a large delta, huge extension and extending up to Bangladesh also. Here you can see briefly for your idea. In Indian context, if we are going to see this zone, we can say that this mountainous area, then the lower side of this mountainous area near the foothill, in Hindi we are going to recognize the Bhabar. Then we are going to recognize as the Tarai. Then we are going to recognize as the Bhangar and Khadar. When we are moving away from the high altitude area, then we are going to recognize this type of landform. Bhabar made up of the coarse material and fine material. Then Tarai rich in the water, and the Bhabar area where we are getting some fertile lands and others. Then the river bank area, Levij and other side, Khadir, and some depressions about the brief. So friends, today we have discussed about the mountains, geomorphology, that is elevated area. The mountain area we have divided in different systems. The high mountain system, mountainous terrain, and the hilly terrain. Then plateau, concept of flatland, and some deposit concern in brief about the river, like the formation of gorge, canyons and others, which we will elaborate further in our future classes. We have recognized three stages as youth, mature and old, and we have discussed briefly about the landform, so provide you idea. And then we have discussed various type of landform in very brief, only objective to familiarize you about this system. Then in detail in our future classes, time to time we will discuss in very detail. In this class we have discussed about the concept of geomorphology, concept of mountain geomorphology, concept of river valley geomorphology, about different stages and others. Till date we have discussed about the ground, different type of plate tectonics, different boundaries, different type of ground, different type of material, rock material and others, about the strength concept, some basic thing related to stress, strain and others, and about these geomorphological features. So in this way, overall we have one broad picture related to basic concept, concerned to strength, concerned to area, concerned to rock or rock material or rock strata and others. Next class in module 2 we will further elaborate about the role of water in detail. Thank you.